Love lives here.
All right, so good morning once again. How many of you have seen the movie Inside Out or Inside Out 2? All right, there's a few of you. Over here, a few of you. Yeah, okay. It's so good, isn't it? Second one's just as good as the first. I love ennui. Oh, right. The boredom. She's great. James, what did Jeremiah think of it? He loved it? Yeah, good. Yeah, so worthy, yes, that's also true. I'm there. Inside Out, right, has all these different emotions, and it's about this little girl who's experiencing different emotions and learning about her different emotions. And then this worthy, I keep calling it worthy. Inside Out 2 is she's a little bit older. She's kind of a preteen, or she's just going into middle school, or no, she's just going into high school, right? She's just going into high school. And so there's this whole flood of feelings and emotions and hormones and all kinds of stuff, right? And that are happening for her. And she's getting all these new emotions, right? And in the first one of the key emotions that she has there is fear and sadness in the first movie. And in the second movie, anxiety shows up, right? How many of you can relate to anxiety? Yes, right? How many of us can relate to fear? Yeah? Yeah. And then when fear and anxiety get together and do a little tango, it is bananas, isn't it? Yes, right. How many have been feeling doing that tango the past week or two with what we've been seeing on the news or what we've been experiencing in life in large or general? Yes, Frank, hi, yes. Yes. All right, right? It's been kind of a woo of swirling and whirling, correct? For many of us? Yeah. So what I want to share with you today is I'm going to share with you a tool by Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn. She is a dear friend of mine. She's a colleague. And so on your tables there, you have a tool called The Anatomy of a Situation. There are 6 copies there, one for everybody at your table, okay? The other thing that's on your table, and there's 2 copies of this, and so you'll need to share this, and whoever wants to take this home, you're welcome to take this home later, but of our Declaration of Principles, as well as, which is what we call our What We Believe statements, as well as our global vision. So that's also on the table. The other thing that's on the table, I'm going to say this now and then I'll say it later, is you have these little cards, my beloveds. And on the front, it says the morning table. And on the back, it says something fabulous, spiritual but not religious, sick of the sin storyline, ready for something radically different, so are we. Now then, these little cards, I don't want to see any left on these tables when I walk out of here today, because the idea of these little cards is you take them with you and you share them with your friends, your family, whoever you think might want to join us here on Sundays for the morning table, okay? And for those of you joining us for the morning table the first time, welcome. It's great to have you with us. And just to let you know, there are snackies over there. There's coffee and hot water over there. Feel free at any point during this morning, if you are feeling a little munchy in that moment, go get it. Nobody's going to judge you. Everybody's going to celebrate you. In fact, they might just ignore you as you come back and forth. It's fine. However you want to do it, but make sure you go get yourself some snacks and some coffee too. And enjoy as we are at the morning table this morning, having our conversations this morning. Sound good? Yep. All right. Just want to... And the bathrooms are over there. There you go. All right. So the former flight attendant and me just came out, right? Your nearest exits may be behind you. Okay, there's not one there. There is over there. Okay. I digress. All right, so we're talking about anatomy of a situation. So this is a tool that Dr. Kathy has introduced to all of her ministerial students, of which I was one. and she continues to teach it. And so we're going to work through this, but before we get into the actual tool itself, let's talk about it a little bit. So when things occur, when larger situations occur in life, it gives us an opportunity to look at ourselves and look at what it is that we believe, look at what it is that we feel, look at the stories that we begin to create, and as well as look at the facts of any given situation, right? And these larger situations can feed and can feel like they can contribute to this sense of overwhelm. They could contribute to a sense of helplessness. If we see like the hurricane, right, that is blown through the Caribbean, blown through Jamaica, and blown through Grenada and all these places, and see the destruction that's happened, it's easy to feel for the people, and it's easy to feel helpless to a certain degree, like, well, how can I help? How can I be of service? If we watch what's going on in Gaza or the Ukraine, then it's easy to begin to feel compassion, but it's also easy to feel somewhat helpless, somewhat hopeless. What can I do as one individual to make an impact in the world? So we have looked at, as the year has gone through, for the first quarter, we were focusing more on our individual, getting right with our individual selves and practicing through our own individualization, practicing the principles, practicing the tools. And then in the past quarter, the past 3 months, we've kind of broadened it a little bit so that we're continuing to practice ourselves, because that has to be. And then we've continued to largen it just a little bit more to the community and the immediate surroundings. And now, this third quarter, starting in July, August, September, we're taking it even further into love in action, meaning how do we make this, or how do we take this and apply these same principles, these same concepts, these same core concepts, the same principles that you have there, and the what we believe and the global vision, and how do we begin to stay grounded in what we know to be true for ourselves, what we know to be true in our community, and take it into the larger world, and to show up with higher consciousness in the world. Sound good? Yep. Sound like a plan? Okay. All right. So these larger situations can frequently generate fear, worry, and anxiety, just like what we were talking about, right? And what we know is that what we pay attention to, what we focus our attention and intention on, does what? It magnifies, it amplifies, it expands, right? So the more that we participate in the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the panic, right? The more we participate in it, the more we think about it, the more we dwell on it, what happens to our consciousness? What's happening? We're creating what? More of it, right? Because we are creative individuals. That's the creative process. So if we are participating in the fear, we're participating in the anxiety, we're participating in the doubt, we're participating in the worry, the collective consciousness. If we like actually engage in it, and then we get in there like, yeah, let's party in the mud, right? We get all muddy too, right? And then nobody's there helping us get out of the muck, get out of the mud, get out of the mire, right? So we have this opportunity to step up to get out of, but we have to stop participating, and we have to stop ourselves from continuing to spiral in the muck and the mire, right? Does that make sense? Yes? You sure? Okay. So what we know is that we can change what? We can change our thinking, right? We can change our responses. We can change our reactions. We can change the way we show up. So when we have these situations, there's a couple here, Chris, if you want over here. We have a couple, so when we get into this, fear, doubt, whatever, it serves a purpose to awaken us, right? To wake up to something, right? I am awake, right? Yes, you are. I know you are. That's right. Frank, are you awake? Wake up. That's right. Right? So it serves a purpose. Because we are at choice, we can decide what we want to do or what we don't want to do. So, if we are experiencing the fear, we can either use it to motivate us or paralyze us. We can either use it to work toward something, toward change, or we can cower in the corner and just let everything run amok, right? All right. So, looking at the tool, this is the tool we're going to use today. So when we have a situation hold on. Waiting for the So when we have a situation like the Supreme Court choosing by 6-3, we have the Supreme Court earlier this week, came to a decision or a conclusion that the president and former president has immunity for things that they have done during their office that were official. However, they do not have immunity for things they've done in office that wasn't official. They stopped short of saying what is official and what is not official and kicked it back down to a lower court for them to decide. However, when we read what the majority opinion was and we read what the minority opinion was, there is quite the difference in interpretation of the Constitution and of the law. Okay? So, using this structure, I just shared with you the facts. Did you hear that? I just shared with you the facts. The facts are that the Supreme Court, 6-3, made this decision. There was disagreement between the justices, right? The facts are currently that the president and former presidents have immunity for any official acts, do not have any immunity for unofficial acts, and yet that is not clearly laid out as to what is official and what is unofficial. Does this make sense so far? All right. So them's the facts. Right? Those are the facts. Now then, what are the feelings? What are the emotions? What are they? Anger, outrage, fear, distrust, shock, confusion, frustration, disbelief, fear, dismay, disgust, over it. Okay? Deep sadness. What else? And those of you at home, go ahead and type those into the comments there on Facebook or YouTube as well. Type them in. First time ever. Right? Unprecedented. Shocking. Alan, you're kind of like, Is it? For official. Now, yes. Beyond reasonable, yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got these feelings that are present, right? So notice we are not ignoring the feelings. We're fully feeling them. Notice I'm not telling you don't feel them, right? Because if I tell you don't feel them, make sunshine and roses, what are you going to do? If you're feeling dismay, if you're feeling whatever it is you're feeling, and I tell you, oh, yeah, it's all good, right? What I'm doing then is spiritual bypassing, right? I'm ignoring what is present. What is the felt experience? What is the lived experience? What we are feeling. So we have the opportunity to feel it and feel it all the way through. Where we get stuck, and what's the danger, is getting stuck and trapped in that feeling. Because if we get stuck and trapped in that feeling, then we begin, as I mentioned earlier, we begin that cycle downward, right? We begin the downward cycle. We begin to feel like there's no hope. We begin to feel like, oh, there's nothing I can do. What am I going to do, right? So be present with the feeling. However, once we recognize the feeling, then we can be present with it, right? Then the next step, as we work up that worksheet from the middle, the next step then with this would be, what are the thoughts, beliefs, and false beliefs, and what is the race consciousness that I am experiencing myself in relationship to this situation? So what are my thoughts? What are my beliefs? What is the race consciousness? What is the collective unconsciousness that is holding this in place, right? That is creating this, that is creating my discomfort. Because when we get to our beliefs, we have the opportunity to separate fact from fiction. Because beliefs tend to be, the majority of our beliefs, tend to be a story that we have wrapped around the facts. And the pain, then, is related to the story more than it is related to the facts, right? The pain, then, is more related to the story. The story is then becomes what we are responding to rather than necessarily what the facts are. So we have this opportunity to separate story from fact, and then we get clarity, because staying stuck in the story prevents us from finding solutions or opportunities or outcomes. All right? So I'm going to ask you all again. Thoughts, false beliefs in race consciousness. Those underlying, the race consciousness is the collective unconscious. What is present here with this situation? What's present? The facts, but what's present? What thoughts, what beliefs are holding this? What is it that is holding us in this situation? So a belief would be our whole system of democracy is going to fall apart. That would be a belief. Supreme Court is rigged is another belief. It's not fair, another belief. This will never get better, right? Separation, I heard over here. We're doomed is another belief. Civil war, the possibility of civil war is a belief, right? Okay. So that there is a hierarchy, that one individual is of lower vibration than the other individuals of higher vibration, and that there is a hierarchy that could be established, right? Greater than what there already is, perhaps, right? So these are the beliefs, these are the thoughts. This is the race consciousness. Notice what the race consciousness is doing. Notice what our collective unconsciousness is doing. And what do we know about beliefs, my beloveds? They can be changed, and they can be reality. Our beliefs become our reality, and if we don't want a certain reality, what do we need to do? change it, but how do we change it? We change our thoughts, we change our beliefs, right? We change our thought, change our beliefs, change the story, right? Change the thoughts, change the belief, change the story, okay? So, taking it from there, my beloveds, if with the creative process, what we know is if there is something that is not working for us, there's something that we don't wish to experience, we don't wish to create something, what do we have the ability to do? Change it. And how do we change it? With the creative process, we plant a new idea, a new thought, a new belief, a new conviction into the creative medium. Remember, that's the symbol over there. That's the circle, right? Is that the top is spirit, the top is the idea. We plant that idea into the middle, which is the creative law that creates everything. It's just like the soil, seed, soil, plant, that if we want something different, then we have to change what we're planting into the soil in order to get a different crop, in order to get a different outcome. So if we are standing and sitting and whatevering in woe is me, oh my God, doomsday, Handmaid's Tale, whatever it is that you're thinking. But if that's what you're thinking, right, and if that's what you're believing, then what are you creating? You're creating the Handmaid's Tale by not doing anything or by not participating or changing whatever, right? You're creating that which you are worried about because, my beloveds, the law, spirit, responds to the feeling, and it doesn't care what the feeling is. What are you most passionate about? What are you really feeling strongly about? What is it that's got you going, got you moving, got the energy moving and circulating, right? That's what gets created. So, seems to me that it would be a good idea to focus all that woo energy into whoa energy. That's just me, right? But basic principle tells us that we need to take whatever it is that we are wanting to experience and plant that into the soil. So using this formula, using this format, this framework, we look at the next one. What's working its way into expression? What is the good that is being called for in this moment? Unity, justice prevails, democracy, oneness. What else is being called for? Hope, understanding, action, passion, compassion, harmony, change, trust, vote, working together, coming together, unifying. What is our vision for a world? A world that works for everyone and all of creation. A world that works for everyone and all of creation. As long as anybody is coming at it from two sides like this, we're not creating a world that works for everyone. We have to be willing to come together to create together. Yeah? All right. So this is what's being called for. So what is the spiritual truth? What is the high idea? What are the spiritual qualities of this situation? What's true? Unity, oneness. Good prevails. God prevails. Good prevails. What's that? God in all, spirit in all, as all, through all. Love. Harmony. Faith. Peace. Trust. Love. Wisdom. Accomplishment. Clarity. All right? So then, my beloveds, what we now get to do is we take these qualities that we've identified, we take this good that is wanting to come through, and what do we do with it? We do what is called a spiritual mind treatment or an affirmative prayer, and we place it into the law. We plant the seed of good, we plant the seed of unity, we plant the seed of harmony. So let's do that now, shall we? All right? Okay, so here we go. Recognizing here and now that there is just this one life, this one power, this one infinite, eternal love intelligence that is through all, in all, as all, back of all. In fact, it is all that there is. There is nothing outside of it. There's nothing separate from it. There is simply just this one. And this one lives, moves, breathes, and has its being in, through, and as all of creation. It created absolutely everything from itself. And so, recognizing that it created everything from itself, there is nothing that is not divine. There is nothing that is not spiritual. There is nothing that is not sacred. Everything is whole and holy and perfect. Everyone is whole, holy, and perfect. And so I recognize that because there is just this one life, that I must be one with it, that I am inseparable from it, that the who of who I am is divine by nature, that I am the manifestation, impartation, and magnification of this one life. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of everyone gathered here this day, of everyone on the planet, of all of life, of the entire universe. The entire universe is the manifest body of the divine. And so I know, and I speak my word here, recognizing that all is unfolding in divine right order, in absolute perfection and harmony. I know that love is the order of the day, that the love of spirit, the love of the divine, the one love is present within each and every individual, and I call it forth now so that we can see it now. I know that peace that passes all understanding is a ground of foundation, and that each one of us is anchored in this peace, anchored in this joy, anchored in this oneness. I know that because there is only one, that it is a unity, it is a unifying force, that we come together as one in our wholeness, but yet in that unity there is a beautiful diversity. And yet all is included in this one. Each is an integral part of this one. Nothing is left out. Nothing is separate. So I recognize the unity in my sister, my brother, my sibling. I recognize unity everywhere present. And not only do I recognize it, but I recognize it in my siblings, and I call it forth from within them. I call it forth. I call the unity forth. I call the love forth. I call the peace forth. I call the harmony forth. I call the joy forth. I call the democracy, the equity, the equality, the inclusion forth. And I know that we are creating here and now a world that works for everyone and all of creation. We let go of any idea of separation. We let go of any thoughts that are somehow other than who we are, that are somehow other, that separate us from our siblings, that separate us from our beloveds, that separate us from our loved ones, for that's truly who we all are. Everyone is simply just a mirror of ourselves, an aspect of ourselves that we may not have yet met. And we call forth the love, we call forth the joy, we call forth the unity here and now. And together, we create a possibility, we create an opportunity, we create a greater, expansive, more expansive yet to be. We magnify the love, we magnify the joy, we magnify the unity, we magnify the peace, so that peace prevails, joy prevails, love prevails, and everyone's needs are met. And so I simply give thanks for this now. I give thanks for this truth. I give thanks for the realization that love is all that there is, and that the action that moves forth is an action of love. And I release this word now into the action and activity of law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is so, knowing that it is, and so it is. So now the next piece of this framework, my beloveds, is action. Having prayed, having done affirmative treatment, we have looked at what the facts were. We have looked at our feelings and our emotions. We've looked at the thoughts and beliefs and false ideas behind what it is. We have looked at what has been called forth, the good that is being called forward. We have spoken spiritual truth. We've found the spiritual truth in the situation, and then we've taken that and we've placed it into the law, assured of its fulfillment. But treating is not enough. We also get to move our feet and take action. So the action, my beloveds, for you to take this week, is to sit with an incident, a situation, whatever it is. It could be an incident or a situation in your own life. It could be a situation in a relationship. It could be a situation in a community, or it could be a larger situation that you're reading on the news or seeing on the news. Work through this framework. And then when it comes to the action piece, listen to the still small voice within you. Listen to that internal wisdom that is wanting to speak, that is wanting to guide you, and take the action, the next indicated step. It doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't have to be a big one. It can be something small. But take the step. Listen. Allow yourself to be guided by the internal wisdom within you. Allow yourself to be guided and take action. Take a step. And allow that step to lead you to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. Clear? Understand what we're doing? So the table conversations, there are the facts, there's the questions. What these table conversation questions are the ones that I just went through with you as we're working through the tool, okay? So those will be available for you as usual on the website. They'll be available for you in our Facebook group, so make sure that you join our Facebook group if you haven't done that. But I invite you to work with, and of course I'll send them out tomorrow as well. I invite you to work with those as you're working through this tool. Everybody has a copy of the tool. There are, to help you with your, the values, and that we have the what we believe statements and the global vision. There are additional copies out in the lobby if you want to take some of those home with you as well. And work through it this week. Begin working through. Don't let yourself get caught in the downward spiral, in the swirl of the fear, the anxiety, the doubt, and the worry. There is a tool here. You have the tool to use to keep yourself above water. And if you need assistance, call on a practitioner, call on a friend, call on one of your buddies here, and work through it together. Because if we as a community of consciousness are not doing our own work here, who the hell is? Not to put it all on you, not to put it all on me, ooh, right? But it starts here. It starts with us, right? It starts here. And like I said, it can be a global thing. It can be a national thing. Or it can be like, ooh, there's a situation with my coworker. Oh, right? and work through the same framework. The framework works. Work through it. Use it. So now I do want to go to tables here for a moment. And yeah, we're going to go to tables, and I would like for you to share at your table what your experience was of this framework and this example that I shared with you today, what it was to experience it in this community like this today. So that is your first thing that you're discussing at the table. In fact, that's the only thing you're discussing at the table right now. How you might apply it, what you experienced, how you might apply it. And then I will pause you and we will do our normal what to know in consciousness, okay? So I'm going to give you about 5, 6, 7 minutes to have a quick discussion as to what you felt about the tool, and then we will move from there. All right, and go. So it is good to start, it shows that we can take a big issue and we can break it down, just like you said. And Danny, what I really appreciated you saying there too is, which is really the bigger point too, is break it down. Break it down, break it down, break it down to something that is manageable so that you don't get overwhelmed, because as Allison said, it's really big, right? And it's easy to get overwhelmed. But if you break it down to that smallest thing, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just feeling frustrated. I need to calm down, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment. Boom, that's action 1. Hallelujah. And then take it from there, which is why treatment comes before action in the framework, right? All right, breathing in, breathing out. All right, so I invite you to stand and let's say this affirmation together. This is the affirmation for this week. Excuse me. I'm talking a lot today. All right, so I'll say it first and then you repeat it after me. I affirm the highest and best in every situation. Let's say it together. I affirm the highest and best in every situation. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Get prayer.